Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my December TBR. This is the last one of the year. I honestly remember sitting down and filming like my June TBR. This year has gone by too fast for my liking. I'm excited about December though and my reading plans. I think on the one hand, I have the opportunity to get quite a bit of reading done because I've got a lot of time off with the holidays and stuff, but I'm also nervous because I'm moving in December, the first week of December. So honestly, the time that you're watching this, I'm either packing or already moving. That's gonna cut into my reading time for sure. And then even once I moved, I'm gonna be like settling in and stuff. So we'll just have to see how this goes. But despite that, we have an ambitious TBR. I'll have all of the books that I talk about today linked down below in the description if you want to go check them out. And I would love it if you would leave a comment down below with what books you're planning to read in December or what books you're most excited about to read before the end of the year. I've actually read most of my like really anticipated books of this year, so I'm not like struggling to finish books that I wanted to finish by the end of the year, if you know what I mean, which is new for me. But before we get into the TBR, I just want to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is my favorite online learning community with classes in a very large variety of different topics like writing, design, technology, videography, photography, business, basically anything you can think of, there's probably a class for it. I've been using Skillshare since the summer and I've really enjoyed the writing classes that I've been taking with them. And I think this time of year is a really great time to start them because, we're getting to the end of the year. We've got the New Year's resolutions. We got a new decade coming up. If you've got some goals for 2020, Skillshare could 100% help you with that, whether you need to brush up on a skill that you already have or you want to learn something new. Maybe 2020 is the year you finally want to learn how to do graphic design, or you finally want to start your own business. Skillshare has classes to help you basically with every step along the way. I have a link down below in my description that you can click if you want to try them for free for 2 months, and that gives you unlimited access to their tens of thousands of different classes. So yeah, make sure to check that link down below in my description if you're interested in trying them out. Absolutely free. But other than that, let's get straight into my December TBR. It's not quite the end of November when I'm filming this, so I'm banking on me finishing all of the books that I'm hoping to finish in November for this TBR to work. And if not, that just means they'll roll over into December, so it's fine. So that means the first book that I have on my TBR is Shadow Kiss by Rochelle Mead. I've been rereading the Vampire Academy books this year. I have a reading vlog up for the first book in the series. I'm currently reading Frostbite. I'm hoping that'll be done by the time I put this video up. And so I want to read this book in December, and that means I'll have read half of the first series. I'm slowly making my way through them, kind of like one book a month, and I'm really enjoying my rereads of this. It's been 6 years since I read the series in the first place. Shadow Kiss, I remember being one of my favorite books in the series too, so I'm really excited to get to this one. Not that I remember what actually happens in this book because it's been so long, but like looking at it, it's like, what is that psychological like Pavlovian response when you are like conditioned to respond a certain way? I'm like looking at this cover and I'm like, yes, I liked that. If you don't know what Vampire Academy is about, it's a young adult sort of paranormal romance series with 3 different types of vampires in them. And because the series is over 12 years old, I'm not going to bore everyone by describing it, but I will say obviously I love the series enough that I'm rereading it and it's standing up. 6 years later, I'm still enjoying it. I wasn't expecting that. So I would highly recommend getting on the series if you haven't started it yet. It's one of my all-time favorites. Another book that I have on my TBR that I have been kind of leapfrogging onto my TBR every month since September maybe, is Final Girls by Riley Sager. This is an adult thriller, and I read another one of Riley Sager's books. I read another one of Riley Sager's books earlier this year, Lock Every Door, and I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm just a huge fan of thrillers to begin with, and you're gonna think I'm so stupid. The one thing that like finally convinced me to read this book has nothing to do with this book. I was watching the new season of American Horror Story, and they have this whole discussion on final girls and how, that's like the last girl standing in a horror movie. They're the final girl. And I was like, oh yeah, there was a book that I wanted to read called Final Girls. I should do that. And that's what convinced me to pick up the book. But some of my absolute favorite books that I've read so far this year have been thrillers, so I have really high hopes for this one, especially because I know that I like his writing. So from what I gather, this book is about final girls, the last girls surviving in like a horrible massacre and stuff, and there's a ton of different ones who all kind of got lumped together in the press, and one of them dies, and then another one reaches out to our main character, and that kind of starts the sequence of events for the book. I'm really excited to finally pick up another one of his books. I've heard really good things about this one, so I'm trying not to get my expectations up too high, but I can't help it, they're kind of already there. The next book on my TBR, I had on my TBR for December, but I'm not gonna lie, I've already started it, so I might have finished it in November. I don't know. And that is Bitter Demons by Sarah Cannon. This is the third book in the Shadow Demons saga. I've been slowly making my way through this series as well. This is another YA paranormal romance kind of deal where our main character bounced around between a bunch of different foster homes and now she's ended up in this small town and she has these powers that she doesn't really understand. Like when she gets angry, she moves things with her mind. She accidentally set a house on fire. And so everyone thinks she's like this delinquent when really she just has like no idea what's going on with her, and she joins the cheerleading squad who all apparently have like demons inside of them, which makes them really powerful. I'm really enjoying this series. It's just really fast and fluffy and light to read. I have a hard time talking about them and like reviewing them because quality wise they're not super awesome, but I'm enjoying them and I'm reading the third book in the series, so I feel like that by itself speaks for the enjoyment level of the series, because you know I have very little patience with books I don't like, so I would not be on the third book in the series if I wasn't enjoying them. So I guess if I did manage to finish that in November, I'll be reading the fourth book in December is basically what I'm saying. I'm also hoping to get to some arcs this month. One of them I didn't realize but was already out because when I was at Barnes & Noble I saw the finished copy and I was like, dang, I didn't realize that was already out. That is Sick Kids and Love by Hannah Moskowitz. And Tangled Teen sent me this and I was so excited for it. And I swear I like just got it in the mail last week, but I guess more time has passed than I realized. And this is about two chronically ill kids falling in love, and it specifies on the front that they don't die in this one, and I could just use a cutesy coming of age romance with two kids who just happen to be sick, and that's not like the main focus of the book, you know? So the girl has rheumatoid arthritis and she has this rule where she doesn't date anyone. Obviously that changes when this boy comes into her life who has a chronic illness that she's never heard of. This just sounds really cute, kind of like a rom-com, and that's what I need in my life. I also haven't heard anyone talking about this, so get ready, you're gonna hear me talking about this. Another arc that I'm hoping to read on time for this one doesn't come out until February of 2020, is Belle Revolt. This is a standalone fantasy where two young women trade lives. One of them is like from nobility and she goes to a finishing school, and one comes from more like humble upbringings but she's training in magic. Kind of like to go into fantasies pretty blind, but I did read the early reviews for this and I know one of our main characters is gender fluid and one of our main characters, I don't know which one, they compared to Kaz Brecker from the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. So this sounds really fun and kick-ass and exciting, and it has all of the tropes in here that I love. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I haven't been in a huge mood for fantasy lately, but when I look at this one, I don't look at it with dread. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I look at fantasy and I'm just like, that's gonna take a lot of energy and brain power and concentration to get past the world building and stuff. So sometimes I'm just like hesitant to go into high fantasies because of the amount of effort it's going to take out of me. And when I look at this one, I don't feel that way. So I'm hoping it comes through and I can just fall into it kind of effortlessly because I have a busy month. I got a lot going on and I'm just gonna be kind of lazy when it comes to my reading, I have a feeling. The next couple of books I only decided to put on my TBR this month because I recently got the loan to come through from my library. I put a hold on a book because it says it's going to be like 36 weeks until I get it from the library, and then it pops up unexpectedly, like 6 all at the same time, and so then I don't manage to read them and then I have to get back in line behind like 8 people. It's a whole cycle, man. So one that I recently got approved for was Recursion by Blake Crouch. This is another adult thriller that I was interested in because I read his book Dark Matter a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I loved it. One of my favorite books that I've read in a long time. And so I really wanted to try his new book. I actually don't even know what this one is about. I just knew it was by him and I knew it was another thriller and I was like, I'm sold. Time named it one of the best books of the year. Ooh, okay, yeah, this description sounds really cool. I kind of want to go into this blind, but I'll give you a peek. It says, reality is broken. At first it looks like a disease, an epidemic that spreads through no known means, driving its victims mad with memories of a life they never lived. But the force that's sweeping the world is no pathogen, it's just the first shockwave unleashed by a stunning discovery, and what's in jeopardy is not our minds, but the very fabric of time itself. Sounds kind of similar to his book, Dark Matter, but if you haven't read his book, Dark Matter, just like a little promo, you should go read it. It was really good. I'm really hoping to like this one as much as I liked that one. And then another library book that I need to read before I lose it is The Power of Now. I've been hearing about this book for I don't even know how many years at this point, and it's one of those things that I've always meant to get around to. I've heard really good things about listening to it on audiobook, which is why I borrowed it from my library. I'm pretty sure it's a pretty short audiobook too. Yeah, it's like 7.5 hours, and this is a nonfiction self-improvement kind of book by revolutionary spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle. The description makes me kind of like want to like roll my eyes, but I've heard good things about it by so many people that I think it might actually pleasantly surprise me. So we're gonna give it a try. I'm assuming it's gonna tell me to chill and stop being so like analytical and overthinking things and just be in the now, but we'll see. We'll see. And then I have just one more book on my TBR for this month. No, that's a lie. We've got 2 more. This is another one that I added kind of last minute because I was talking to someone on Instagram. We were DMing about, I don't even know what the original conversation was. Oh, we were talking about The Queen of Nothing. If you're watching this, hey. We were talking about The Queen of Nothing and book hangovers, and she was like, I had a really bad one from this book, but like in a good way. And I was like, oh, I haven't read that. I should do that. Now I'm hesitant about this book because at first I thought, oh, that sounds really good, and I saw a lot of good reviews for it, and then something exploded on book Twitter, as you know happens every other week, and people were saying this is the worst book they've ever read. I don't even know. I don't know if there was like drama or if people just straight up didn't like it, but that is Serpent Dove by Shelby Maureen. So from what I gather, I could be wrong. Feel free to yell at me in the comments, I'm used to it by now. One of our main characters is a witch, and one of our main characters comes from the church. And in this world, there's like a war against witches and the church. They hate each other, and our main character somehow ends up marrying. She's a witch, and she ends up getting into like a marriage with someone from the church. That's about all I know. I'm trying not to look at other people's reviews for it. I don't want to know why everyone hated it. I just want to read it myself and see how I feel, because I've also heard people say this is like the best book they've read all year. So we're gonna go in blind and let me make my own opinion of it. And then my last book for my December TBR, I kind of threw this in at the last minute, but I think it'll actually be a very good addition for December, is Save the Cat, the last book on screenwriting that you'll ever need by Blake Snyder. I've talked about this in a couple of videos recently. I've read pieces of this book, but I've never read it cover to cover, and I've done a lot of writing lately. You know, I finished my YA new adult sci-fi book earlier this year. I just finished a draft of a new adult paranormal kind of book for NaNoWriMo this year. I was revising a YA contemporary even earlier in the year. So now I've got like 3 books in my back pocket that I'm revising and stuff in addition to previous things. And sometimes I just kind of like to refresh and read a book on writing, especially now that I'm out of school and I'm not, you know, constantly exercising that part of my brain and learning new things, if that makes sense. I just like to constantly be learning. That's why I take Skillshare classes. Like, I'm not even kidding. That's why I really like the writing classes. And so I think taking a break from being, you know, so in the middle of doing my own writing and just kind of reading someone else talk about writing for a while might kind of give me that little kick that I need to get back into it. Might help me see something I didn't see before. I don't know if this is making sense, but this is why I want to read this book this month, to help me with the projects that I'm working on right now. So yeah, those are all of the books that I'm planning to read in December. Like I said, I would love to hear down below in the comments what books you're really excited to read before the end of the year, or if you've read any of the books that I talked about today, I would love to hear what you thought of them down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a fabulous day. I hope you're just having a good time of year. I know the holidays can either be like people's favorite time of year, or it can be like a really, really hard time of year. So wherever you are in that spectrum, I hope you're doing well. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up because it helps out my channel a lot. And if you're new here, maybe consider subscribing. I put up at least 2 new videos every single week, and I would love to have you stick around. But other than that, I think I'll just see you guys in my next video very, very soon. Bye.
So hit me. So hit me. So hit me. First a confession. With you I feel a connection. With